the economy is likely to recover to pre-COVID levels by 2023. This is according to the Finance Minister, Tito Mboweni. Well, our pre-COVID economy wasn't all that great to start off with, and added to high unemployment numbers, South Africans have to deal with increasing electricity, fuel, municipal rates and food prices. Let's discuss that then. I'm joined by economist Duma Gqubule for that conversation. Duma, thank you for your time once again and your insights into this situation. So we got a glimpse into what we can expect in as far as the economy is concerned, and some of the fixes that government believes they can introduce at a macro level. But let's talk micro level. What are some of the wins that have been lashing South Africans that are of particular significance that worsen the situation worse than what it was as we went into this crisis of COVID-19 and the lockdowns?
So at the micro level, Thulasizwe, the most important one is we have to bring the pandemic under control. We've got I think we're top 20 in the world in terms of infections and deaths. So there can't be there can't be a sustainable recovery in the economy unless we get this pandemic under control. That's number one. Number two, we've also got the issue of the power blackouts, which are impediments to the growth of the economy. And also there's the issue of the lockdowns. We can't have a stop-start economy. That's another reason why we need to have this, bring the pandemic under control. So we had the unrest over the past 3 weeks and 4 weeks, that's another body blow to the economy. So there have been many issues at the micro level that have been affecting this economic performance here.
And when we talk about at the micro level then, how it hits our wallets and our purses, I imagine, Duma, that things such as the annual increases in electricity prices, I mean, the other time I was seeing a conversation in one of the WhatsApp groups that says electricity is the only instance where we as a people will take a 15% increase and not flinch and not, raise any arguments and just take it and grin and bear it. But that must hit quite hard, despite the breaks that we've been seeing and as far as the interest rates are concerned throughout last year and the holding of rates at this particular point.
Yes, these unprecedented price increases are cancelling out the benefits for most households of the decrease in interest rates, as you say. And the price of electricity has increased. It soared over the past decade, and electricity is no longer affordable even for middle-class families. So we can't continue like this. We have to find a way also to bring these prices and the food prices to bring them under control as well. Yeah.
And so, Duma, as we prepare for this big fuel price increase that's coming up a bit later on in the week, talk to me about the indebtedness situation as far as you understand it, right? Last week, the proposal by the finance minister that he's pushing for finalization of the modalities on how South Africans can be allowed to access a portion of their retirement funds, I suppose without attracting huge penalties. I don't know the full details yet, but the fact that that got so much traction and got so many South Africans talking about what they could do to reduce their levels of indebtedness, I think it says a lot, doesn't it, in terms of the levels of indebtedness and how desperate people are.
Yes, people are desperate. They need access to their savings to be able to get them through this crisis. And the finance minister was also very frustrated. He seemed to be blaming his officials for these delays in terms of finalizing the laws that will enable them to withdraw. So I'm not sure what the holdup is. I'm not sure how it will work. But the point is, we need some kind of relief as consumers to be able to access these savings to get us through this crisis. Yeah.
But is this the kind of relief we need, Duma? Your own thinking about letting people access a portion of their retirement funding? I mean, we've seen it in various sectors where people will resign a job and access the pension and only to return a few years, a few months or few years later, desperate, having spent it on various needs, but, it quickly runs out. And are we not setting ourselves up for a situation where people are going to be a burden on the state in retirement?
No, you see, the thing is, the problem is that there's no other support coming from government in terms of the fiscal stimulus. You must remember that you might be in the hospitality industry where your companies have, they've played havoc with your economy. So you're not sure, and there's no other options except the one that you're talking about in terms of the retirement fund issues. But there's no support from the government for this economy. So there are no other options for households except to access their savings on a temporary basis.
Relate the situation we are facing at the moment, Duma, with the increases that we have been seeing, to the situation with inflation as tracked by the Reserve Bank. My own sense is that we've not seen runaway inflation. It's not breaching the band, the 3 to 6% band that the Reserve Bank wants to keep it at. But if you are to talk to an ordinary person, not an economist, and say, how are you finding the cost of living? People will tell you that the cost of living is rising. Why is it that the inflation seems to continue to be in control, but the cost of living as experienced by people is going higher and higher?
Well, yes, correctly. The forecast, all the forecasts I've seen is that inflation will remain under control over the next 3 years. But inflation is measured as a basket of many goods and services. So electricity might be increasing, or food prices, but there's other items that reduce the overall impact on the economy. So I think at a macro level, there's no need to be concerned about the trajectory for inflation. But at the micro level, there are some items that are causing pain to many families there.
And lastly, Duma, are there any interventions that can be introduced that would cushion the situation for consumers in as far as these various costs that are going up? Because price control is perhaps, is not an option in the kind of economy that we have. But is there something else, other interventions? Is it that we need to earn more money, or is there any other area of these costs where things could be kept perhaps flat one way or another?
I think the solution, like you've seen in every other country, major economy, developing countries and developed countries, is to put unconditional cash transfers into the economy. This weekend, every citizen in Hong Kong who's above 18 got 10,000 rands from the government. I'm not saying we should do that, but it gives you the kind of scale of the desperation that many countries are resorting to stimulate the economy. Many countries, more than 100, implemented unconditional cash transfers to the people. So I believe that we need more transfers to the people in the short term to help them through the situation. And what was announced in the mini budget was inadequate. The 27 billion rands that would be spent to do this, reintroduce the social relief of distress grant here.
All right, thank you for that, Duma Gqubule, and I know exactly how passionate you are about that particular topic of what more can be done by way of a stimulus package there. That's economist Duma Gqubule weighing in on the situation on the economy, something that we are focusing on quite extensively here on ENCA throughout the day.